Sí. ¿Empezamos ya? Sí. Kaixo.
Good afternoon,
Buenas tardes a todas y a todos.
everybody. Thank you for coming to this round table promoted by the Observatory for Equality of the City Council of San Sebastian and Radio and Television in Spain. I'd like to thank the festival for having us and to be part of this section called Thinking and Debate. This roundtable is part of a joint project that is being developed by the development of the Institute of Observatory of Equality that will continue tomorrow after this roundtable. For now 18 months we started to work in something that seems fundamental, the Radio Televisión Española. It's the radio and television of all Spanish people. It's a meeting point. It's a leadership sector for the audiovisual sector in Spain. We are the guarantee of democracy. We are the guarantee of an audiovisual world that is fairer and more equal. And we are happy to develop this project jointly with the associations of the audiovisual sector. You have some of the posters of the publications that we've edited, all the work that we carry out in the Observatory for Equality. It's always public access. Our website is open. You can find it in RTVE.es, Observatorio de Igualdad. We have open access. Our videos are open access. We are casting this roundtable in RTVE Play. I'd like to thank our colleagues in Radio Televisión Española because they are supporting us in radio, television, and the social media. And the roundtable will be published there too. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Thank you to the team of the Observatory for Equality, BEATRIZ, APARICIO, and all the colleagues for all the effort that has been carried out in these last days. Thank you to the associations. First, the group, the Interterritorial Work Group for Equality, AMA, the Andalusian Association of Women in the Audiovisual. They were already present in the Festival of Malaga, which was sponsored by Radio Televisión Española. AMA, the Association for Women in Audiovisual Sector in Murcia. Dona y Cinema from Valencia. Dones Visuals in Catalunya. EMEN from the Basque Country. MIA, Women in the Animation Industry. And CIMA, the Association of Audiovisual Means and Women Filmmakers. And we are developing with this association an intense program together with the Observatory for Equality. Before presenting my colleagues, because the topic is eradicating discrimination and gender stereotypes in the audiovisual industry, the pleasure of recognizing oneself on the screen, I'd like to show you a video that we've made in the Observatory with our colleagues in Radio Televisión Española to start the debate through some reflection lines. It's about the importance of stereotypes, the fact that we cannot see ourselves represented with all our richness and diversity. We need to recognizing ourselves on the screen. So, as we say in Spanish, dentro video. Put the video. Thank you.
Ese reflejo, un espejo donde mirarse uno, pero donde también ver otras realidades.
Por eso es tan importante esa reparación histórica.
It's important for this historical reparation. We are the half of the women. We have to tell stories because we are half of the population in the world. Until now, it wasn't fair in the narratives, stories, how we were taught, how masculinity was told. Because there was only the masculine point of view, the male point of view, because we need to have diversity. After 40, life doesn't stop. There are more and more lead roles, lead characters for women. It was not just an image for men. We are protagonists as women. We can be there in the cinema with 50 and more. The standard that you use for measuring men and women is not the same. We have been, people have been demanding with us youth, beauty, etc. We try to be physically a type of women, and we fight and we suffer, and it's quite harder to be a girl and to see only skinny ladies on the TV. There's an aesthetic pressure. Before going to an audition, a casting, I'm like I am, I feel exposed, and many people give opinions about your face, about your body, and it's difficult to be strong, to have self-esteem when so many people are looking at you. It's a very hostile world. When you get to 40, everything changes. You're Mrs., you are an oldie in a way. I was surprised, but I was against aesthetics. I didn't want to go through operations. I think that script writers need to tell new stories with women so that actresses can be hired for many other roles. I think that we have to be very, very clever and be more active in production. We will need to write scripts and stories. We need to direct. We need to produce. We need to defend ourselves, because there are quotas. There are ceilings regarding money, salaries, etc. There's a change. We need to write different stories with women that really interest the audiences. I don't know what are percentages. In our society, many people want to be recognizing oneself on the screen.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, and I'm happy to be with you and to have all these beautiful ladies around this table. As Conchi was saying, the objective of this round table is to talk about the gender stereotypes that are reinforced on the screen. We need to debate on these stereotypes and look for potential solutions so that we can eradicate stereotypes. And this is one of the main goals of the Observatory for Equality and this cooperation. This is the idea to have fair and equal images of men and women against the stereotypes, sexist stereotypes and discrimination. How can we improve things? With the title of this round table, what we wanted is to refer to text of Laura Mulvey in 1975. She's one of the pioneers of the feminist analysis in cinema. It was about pleasure, visual pleasure, and the narrative process. She spoke about the importance of the one who looks at the object to be looked at, who dominates the look and the gaze. And cinema is a projection and a mirror. The great pleasure is to be able to recognize oneself on the screen. All the realities should be represented, that is, all types of women. So we have a cross-sectional approach. The stereotypes are the fruit sometimes of an inequality that is all over the place, and the discrimination and the images that get to the public and to the audience are assumed as a standard. All these questions were already dealt with in the first seminar that we had. We spoke with directors, scriptwriters, cinematographers, and directors. The importance of the voice of women. They need to create and tell the stories. We need to promote the presence of women in all teams. And the idea of representing real and diverse women, with the main goal discussing about this topic. We will speak about the image of women. What is the image that the audiovisual world gives about women? Where's the change? Is there a change already in process? What are the solutions to eradicate stereotypes? We have ARANTXA ECHEVARRÍA, director and scriptwriter in 2017. She had 2 Goya prizes in the same festival. You're presenting, yes, tomorrow there's the premiere of my new feature film, PAZ de ALARCÓN. She's an actress, singer, and playwright, and she was Herminia, the young Herminia in Cuéntame Cómo Pasó, and she's got a role in Intemperie, the film by Benito Zambrano. She's an academician. She founded the Andalusian Academy for Arts, and she's part of AMMA. And we have also CLARA Sanz, actress and dancer. And you're now presenting new films here? Yes, in the fantastic case of Golem. That's my participation this year only. And we have also Pilar Rodríguez, the researcher. She's an expert in literature, cinema, communication, and gender studies, and she's professor in the University of Deusto, the author of many publications on gender and cultural studies. And there was a book about aging and Iberian cinemas. As you can see, we have different profiles here. We will talk about what happens before, in front of the cameras, behind the cameras. Let's start to speak about gender stereotypes and discrimination in front of the camera. And you can speak about that, what happens in front of the camera. Some of the actresses that we spoke with for this video promotion told us that they had felt an aesthetic violence, aesthetic pressure because of their appearance, and it was dangerous for them. Do you think that during your career you had to meet a stereotype or an aesthetic standard? Have you been pressured? Yes, of course. I can say yes, since the beginning. Since you say, I want to be an actress, and the family doesn't agree because it is not well considered. You are in a school and your teachers want to pressure you, and once you start with your profession, you have a label. You are a young woman, or you're an old woman. There's the sexy girl, the bad girl, and that's the words, the young one, the old one, and in the castings you have a label. Once you start to work, and I felt aesthetic violence in TV. The makeup lady tells you, oh, this is running up, and in the showroom we only have size 38, so in the costumes. So you suffer from all the points since you start studying until you get into the professional world. Then your own agent can be very bad to you. Oh, this role is not for you. Please don't drink beer. You should be thinner, etc. So many people are making pressure. I love beer, and it's not forbidden anymore for me because I'm going to do what I want. I want my body as it is. And when you get older, there's more and more aesthetic violence from all the society as a woman, as a mature woman, and as an actress even more. You don't get roles. You don't get a role. In my case, I had to earn my living with classes, and my students were leading roles. And I've been working all my life. I was training these little young ladies, and I never got the roles. When I was younger, when I was 15, 25 years of age, it was impossible to have an agent. You couldn't get to a casting because if you're not renowned, if you're not well known, you're nobody. Now I'm 40 and now I realize that they don't want me because of my age, because of my body, but any girl with in 20, that the girls in 20 years old, they want new faces and very young girls. That's what they want. For my generation, it's very complicated, and aesthetic violence is still there in all classes, in women and in men. Of course, there is aesthetic violence. You are a younger actress, and what about you? Of course, there is aesthetic violence towards women. In a casting, they told me you are too beautiful to be the friend of, but you cannot be the protagonist because of your body. You cannot be the lead. Because protagonists in Spanish fiction are all very petite actresses. I'm waiting always for the supporting role. I want to have the supporting role. I don't mind, but I'm not slim. And you want to be the protagonist, and you want to tell stories with a very interesting plot. Your body shouldn't be a conflict. Beautiful things can happen to you. I don't want to be the comic girl or the friend or the humorous girl because I'm fat. Things are changing. It's changing because other women are now directing new movies. It's my experience. I suppose that there are young directors who are changing their views on us. Out of my personal experience, I started to work when women started to call me. I never worked with men because they didn't want me, because they want to recognize themselves on the screen. I represent stories of other women beyond the body, beyond the aesthetic, beyond the label, being famous or not being famous. Just women who want to tell stories. Yes, we'll see about this difference of the creative gaze. You are creating movies and stories after the aesthetic violence. Is there a real representation of women in the audiovisual world, in cinema? No way, no. Good night. Well, good evening, sorry, good evening. There's not a real representation of women in the audiovisual world in Spain. I'm not represented. It's hard for me. There are new voices. We're trying very hard. And Carla just said it, Carla Simón, in the video. Half of the population has been silent. We never told our stories. I was told how I had to feel my own maternity. I'm a mother. It's very special. It doesn't resemble what I was told about being a mother. They told me how I have to feel love and orgasm and many other things in my life. They told me from advertising, from literature. We were told how we had to feel. This was a male world, and I was never represented. I never felt identified in what I saw and what I read. Thanks to the organizations, Televisión Española, ICA, suddenly women have the opportunity to speak up. And it has nothing to do with what you see around you. So we're not really represented in all art of diversity. I'm fed up because men, when they are old, they are interesting and handsome, and we are just old. Now with my age, I'm wise, I have the power, I have the tools. What I need is the budget. Of course, you don't need to be the friend, just the friend of and the comic girl, but I'm the boss, and I can be fat, I can be comic, but I want to make films. But we need to write it down. We need to work. For you, it's more difficult because we are the authors. We create roles for you. You self-finance your theater plays, and people come to me, but I have to answer to my producers. I have fantastic scripts. I have a lot of ideas. I would like to shoot those films, made by women, but then the producer says, oh, this is not interesting. Well, nobody would be interested by this. And I say, no, 50% of the population would be interested, because we are more women than men go to cinema, go to see films. So we are a lot of people. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you to the Observatory for Equality. Thank you to the director of this observatory. Thank you for having me today. The use of bodies of women and the beauty standards is something that has changed, but now it's about ageism. I don't know if there's a time in the life of teenagers or adolescents when we feel comfortable with our age and with our bodies. In the US, there are beauty competitions for girls of six years old, and they are injected Botox. Botox is injected in your teen adolescence. You're a victim. There's bullying. You're harassed, and if you have a sexually developed body, it's worse, because you can have sexual attacks. It's always the same. Susan Sontag said it, and she studied photography. In 1972, she spoke about the double standard of aging. The men mature and women age. Susan Sontag and myself, I just said it. And ARANTXA said it, okay. Susan Sontag said that for women, life means having less opportunities, and it's like a funnel. For women, you have less and less possibilities when you age, but men are enjoying opportunities and consideration, and there are many examples of that. It's incredible. Carrie-Anne Moss, the protagonist of Matrix, said that when she was 40, she had a script, and she told her agent is that the role that she was proposed was to be a granny when she was 40. So our cinema has to reflect reality. We become mothers later in our lives, but in cinema there are very young girls having babies. Thousands of Angelina Jolie was Olympia, the mother Alexander, and they had only a difference of 1 year between the two roles, the two characters. So very young mothers. So the actors are older and older, mature and clever and attractive men, aging men, and the ladies around are very, very young in order to show their attractiveness and their male aspect. But when there is an older woman with a younger man, in fact, nobody thinks it's a real couple. But I think there are many cases of ageism. The cinema is reflecting that, but things are little by little starting to change. And you, the script writers, the producers, have this in your hands. You have this power, but everybody has to participate. We need to be all aware of the problems. Well, in production, in makeup, in costumes, there's a reality that is not being reflected properly, and the cinema has the potential to create social imaginations that can have a reality more limited, more shallow. We cannot recognize ourselves in those stories. They're showing us other women. We're not those women. Or just the opposite. There's another potential. We can enlarge stories, diversity, different stories from other sexual options, as you do, for other people, other ethnicities, people coming from all around the world, and cinema is doing that at the moment, and I'm happy about that. So these changes are good. Before talking about ageism, I'd like to ask about the differences that you mentioned with the role, the ages. Is there a different standard for actors and actresses? Yes, we have millions of examples. The other day, I was talking with a colleague in AMMA, and her daughter is an actress. And she said, oh, it would be fantastic to be in a film, you and me, mom and daughter. That would be easy for a director. The relationship is there. And her daughter said, Mom, you cannot You cannot be my mom because moms on the screen are thin and you're not thin. It's not a problem only with men. It's not about being 40 or being fat or not. When my adolescent daughter of 12 tells you that you're fat and that you cannot have this role, of course you see that it's not real. Mothers are not 20. I know many friends that are more than 30 and they don't want to be mothers yet. And our daughters do not recognize their mothers on the screen. So they say, okay, you're old, you're fat. They do not respect us because we're not the ideal mothers that they see in the series. So it's not the problem of not working. The problem is that we are creating a sick society where our own daughters do not trust us. We're not the perfect mother. And then we're not the sexy, fantastic mom that they see in the series. Is anybody like that as a mom? Well, we young people, we're not like that either. There is ageism, and my friends are 32, and they're still making auditions for roles of 18 and 19 years old. There is no roles for ladies of 30, saying lady. In fact, they are women, but we are not the woman of, the mother of. We're girls, eternal ladies, eternal girls. So men become interesting roles and characters because we women, we become the woman of or the wife of. In Ama, what can you say about Ama? Yes, we created a campaign with a hashtag. I hope you will follow us, at least follow us, because it's a different idea. If we are not present in Instagram, we cannot work. So please follow us. Follow us in the social media, please. What was the question? It was about the campaign. So actresses without a due date. Every time I work, I have a guy who is my partner, but he's 20 years older than me. So we want to mature like peaches. We want to have this fantastic peach that is already very ripe and that's juicy. We don't want to be perfect peaches, equal peaches in a perfect box. We won't be allowed to age, to mature in a natural way, and we don't want to lose our roles. We made a photo with a red carpet because the red carpet is not representing us. We don't want to be on the red carpet saying that we are very happy that we have a lot of roles, but because it's not true, we cannot pay our rent. We want to express ourselves as we are from the aesthetic point of view. And Clara and myself, we are the actresses, and this is too feminist. This lady is feminist, so 3 producers are not going to hire us because we are feminist. We are exposing ourselves, and we are complicated for some of these producers. So this is a campaign, so women without a due date. And we would like to express ourselves freely. In this publication, it's about aging. From outside, okay. We have to make data speak. A study carried out by Times about 5,000 films since the beginning of Hollywood cinema. The careers for actors get to its climax at 56 years of age. That's for actors, and 46 years. And for women, the professional highest point, that's 30, when they are 30. That's the highest point for an actress, 30. It's a brutal difference, 46 or 30. And now there's another trend. Did you read El País magazine? That was last Sunday. It was incredible. There was a feature. This is the article. This is the heading. the 60s are the new 40s. That was in El País Semanal. The 60s are the new 40s. So it doesn't. It's not about aging with elegance. We need not to age. No to age. Raise time, fight genetics, and to be like a teenager for all your life. Tom Cruise and other photos. Now, okay, these guys, they are going to be eternal teenagers. What about the actresses? They need to be 12. Actresses need to be 12 years of age. We cannot compensate that. It's crazy. It's crazy. We started to have another representation on screen. Yes, we are seeing that already. I've been studying the Basque movies and made by Basque women directors. When there's a mother, it's a real mother. The role corresponds to the real mother. In Cinco Lobitos, the mother has the age of a mother, and that's the way. And I think that's the good way forward. And cinema has to be close to reality. Another question. Not during the festival, because it's a very strange moment, but I come from San Sebastian. I go to the movies. You go to the movies Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, and the audience, and the vast majority, are older women. But when you make tests of movies to see if it works or not, the tests are made with men from 25 to 40. They never go to the movies. Why are you testing with men? Why don't you ask women, do you like this movie? Why don't you ask myself? Because I go to the movies every day. I can tell you if I like it or not. So it's very strange, but it still works like that. I don't mean that there is no heterosexual male publics and audiences who go to the movies, but most of the audiences are women. In audiences, we see real women because it's real, and the vast majority of cinema goers are women. The actresses told us that this paradigm has been shifting. The current situation is a little bit better. Is there a real change in trends behind the camera and in front of the camera? Well, I'm a newcomer, but I imagine 20 years ago in this industry, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here 20 years ago. So I think things are improving and things are changing. Of course, there's much to do. But then you see the scripts and okay, this is still the cave age. We have strange scripts coming to us, but things are evolving little by little. I really think I wanted to be a dancer. And I realized that I couldn't be a dancer with my body. It's impossible, okay? I decided to be an actress. And maybe it's the same shit. But I believe things are changing. I think 20 years ago, I wouldn't be working as an actress. Thanks to the quotas, thanks to positive discrimination, many new women are entering the teams. They're making their scripts, they're directing, they're more and more abundant, and that's fresh air for us and for the society at large and for the stories that are being told. It's marvelous. But they have paid a price. They don't get the same budgets. They don't have the same fundings. They don't have the same support. If you're a manager, people look at you saying, oh, you are here because of the quota. You don't deserve it. This still happens. And the ceiling is there, the glass ceilings. It's like the football teams. You have a script. And the producer comes to you and say, okay, but this lady of 50 has to be 30. This one has to be sexy. So the producer wants to change your script. Your original story is not told. You want to make your movie, but then you have to accept it. So women are getting there with a lot of concessions, and this quota is helping us so that cinema becomes more plural. But there are no quotas for the art team. In AMMA, we realized that all our colleagues, directors, music directors, photography directors, they are working a lot because in Andalusia there's a lot of work. They are working in precarious conditions. They are still working in Andalusia and they're very happy. But actresses, we are at home. We are not helped by the quota. We don't have a quota. So we disappeared and nobody cares. A whole generation of actresses from 30 to 60 years of age is now disappearing in this country. We're not working as actresses. She could get to fiction because she's younger, and I hope this is going to change so that when Clara is 40, I hope that she will still be an actress. But in fact, they forget us. And then when I'm 60, I'll be a witch. I see the scripts. Women with 70, they discover sex. Suddenly, older women discover sex and sex toys. What is that? That's the society around us. Here we have fantastic women from 50 to 70, and they perfectly know what a sex toy is. So we cannot allow that those stories are being told still today, because it's not our reality. From the filmmaking sector, from the direction sector. Yeah, I'm here because of the quota. I'm I'm 55 years of age. My first movie, I did it with 50, but I started to work at 18. But men around me had done a lot of short films, and thanks to this law, the quota, I could make my first movie. I was the assistant, and I helped guys to make their own films, but I was just the assistant. I wanted to direct it myself. I was late, but I'm here. It's important. It's your dream. Yes, the problem is that I'm doing it. Thanks to the quota, you don't have that help of the quota. Thanks to the quota, I can be alive. And thanks to the quota, I can be a benchmark for other girls. Clara, Simon, Estíbaliz, Laura. We don't stop now. There's new things coming. It's very buoyant. And we're going to be very successful, I suppose, because at last there's a way that is open, and we found a little hole. But I'm afraid that this quota could disappear, and then we could go down again. We will disappear. We directors, we need absolute sorority with you, with all the team. I always work with a woman working as an art direction and director of photography. And for me, it's very important that I am calling you. A guy is not going to call you, but I will call you. Sorority is the key word, but not just in the industry, in the whole life, in life too. And when you're up there, you have to pull, and then try to pull the women towards you and up the ladder. If I choose a woman to be a mother on the screen, it has to be a real mother. You know that I work with natural actors. I have to be sincere and genuine. I cannot choose a mother that looks like my little sister. The age has to correspond to the role. My mom is fantastic, but she's not the model of a mother. She's just a woman. She's not a mother. And I want a sexy lady for the role of a sexy lady. But casting is a different matter. We suffer, the producer, behind the scenes. What are the other challenges? What are the challenges for for directing? Well, I write a film. I self-produce my movie. I find allies to do that, but the budget is very small. I have to care about my product. I have to fight for it, but a guy doesn't need to do that. It's easier for a guy because they have bigger budgets. If I make big movies, sometimes I do it, because I need to earn my life. I have to go to a producer. There's a chain, producers, distributors. All of them are men. And then everything starts with a casting process. It's difficult. Sometimes I succeed in doing it myself because you have to make concessions. So the head has to change. It's like in football. If distributors, if the chain managers, if the funders are just men, and if they never change their minds, nothing is going to change. I think the spectators have changed their minds. I think that cinema lovers have changed their mind. But these dinosaurs up there are afraid of being replaced. If you've seen what Alcaraz and the money that the movies make, you see that in fact you can win a lot of money. These women, produced by women, is fantastic. Production by women is very, very important. Alcaraz and other films. This is produced by women, and this is now changing. This is a turning point. The fact of being a woman, is that enough not to try to reproduce stereotypes? No, I'd like to finish the previous idea. I think that directors, women directors, start to produce movies, and that's important. Quotas are essential here. We have to say it clearly and loudly. We need quotas. There's a lack of parity. And this hasn't to be questioned. It's clear we need to help women, and it should be stopped. Quotas are necessary. But then you need to get to production, you need to have more control over production, and I'd like to underline what you said, ARANTXA, sorority, helping each other and networking, creating these networks of women in cinema. Berta Gastelumendi and another colleague made a documentary on Basque producers. We need to do networking, and there's always been this boys' club. Men have their colleagues, their friends around. It's natural for them. If you always worked with a team, and if you're okay, why are you going to change that? Well, I still work with the same people in my team. Yes, but we need to change it little by little. We get to go to the producing positions, and we can help other women, because parity needs to exist. In this debate, we speak about networks for sorority, networks for women who help each other. The fact of being a woman is that how can we remove this bias, being men, being women? What about stereotypes? I have an idea. It's a complicated question. We want to be mediocre women. Once the woman has the opportunity to make a film, it has to be excellent. We can be poor. We can be poor directors. Many men receive money and they just do crap movies. So mediocrity is a right. We can make bad movies, okay? As women, and sorority networks, that's essential, indispensable. Dana is here, Amma, and all the communities are necessary. In this women's association, we help each other a lot, but we need to add men. It's important to have men with us because they are a lot and they are working in cinema. I was talking with a young director here in the festival, and he told me in his film there was a moment when an actress had 2 hours to sleep, and she had to be with her son, and she had to go working. And the problem is that the costume for this mother was just a very sexy costume. No, I don't want that. This woman goes to bed with a pajama or with a t-shirt. She needs to be with her son for 2 hours, and she cannot be wearing this sexy lingerie. And the producer says to him, even though you don't believe it, there are many guys who like women of 50. This is a reality. I won't tell you who they are, but these guys, the director, said no. If this was full of producers and directors, not just fantastic women and fantastic men, if this room was full of directors and producers, things could change. The producers have to be stopped. Stop that. Stop of these stereotypes. Stop it, because we need to make a revolution. And the heads over there, the dinosaurs, have to change their vision or just stop their work. Stop working. Producers are not here, directors are not here, but could you ask for a reflection or a solution? What could you propose to these guys so that their vision, their mindset could change? Yeah, I would recommend to add women in their teams. If there's there are more women in the teams, they can speak up. And we need to add women and to listen to them at the same time. I'm going to say this to the society at large. The IBEX 35 companies have only 30% executives, especially women working in their human resources. We're talking about the audiovisual industry because there's a sea over there, and we need to start from education, from culture, from our children. We need to get up the mountain, little by little. We need more women in the teams. We need to enter and to knock at many doors. We need to take our hands. I don't need the hand of a man. I don't want to be alone. I have to go with other women. We need each other because we need experts, and these experts should be women and help us in our work and in our lives. This is a basis, and we need to work on this basis from schools, etc. Little by little, we'll get up the ladder. But now, what is the situation? I have 2 children, and I educate my 2 children. And I suppose they're not going to follow my education, maybe. But it's important to educate producers. I cannot fight against them. We need to educate producers. This is an industry. There's money around. It's a business. If we can make money out of our films with our messages. I did a comedy for Netflix, The Perfect Family. It was a 60 years of age woman. She left everything, and the producer wanted that this lady came back with her husband. And I said, no, over my corpse, this woman is not going back to his husband. And I succeeded. And this is in Netflix, and many people are watching this. It's a comedy. But there's so many ladies wrote to me, listen, at last, thank you. And I was an ally with my producer. My producer said no, and I said, yes, you will see that this is going to be very successful. I know it's difficult to educate your producer, but it works. I discovered that I'm a Basque lady, and I know I don't want to break my head. I want all the women to get their heads up and fight together, because this is an industry. Just a sentence. From Susan Sontag? No, not this time. It's possible that women make movies and reproduce stereotypes. This happens. But what is clear, this has been studied, is that when women make movies, they show pulses of realities that haven't been represented yet, approaches that were not present in the past. When Elena Taberna makes a film like Yoyes, and she shows women terrorists, she's not sexualizing the protagonist. We need to cast other gazes, other visions, other looks. This non-represented part of the society is very important. Let's see if stereotypes are reproduced or not. We should stop. We need to be in areas where we were not present. We need to see other actresses with other roles. We need to see their faces, their bodies. And women do it. They show other areas of life that were silent or invisible in the past. ARANTXA, yes, you said that the public, the audience should be represented, identified, and reflected. This is good for the economic and financial reasons. This is good for business because they will go to the movies. That's my criterion. To close this roundtable, what are proposals for change? Before the questions, the key here is what you said. We have to be open for men, to have men accompany us. We are the new generation, and maybe in the next generation we can have men coming with us at the same level. I'm sure that many men who are ready to listen and to de-learn, to unlearn. Feminism is something that we are learning, and they need to learn too, because we don't want to repeat the patriarchal society. So we have learned feminism. Now let's men learn about feminism. I want to trust humankind, and men will maybe one day follow us. And if we look for solutions, what's important are numbers, facts, statistics, and reports. When you give the facts to a politician, to a producer, they see it with facts and figures. This 50-50, these facts and figures, they made a business study. Who goes to the cinema? Women of more than 40, and we're not reflected. Women are making films, and they are having prizes and awards. Producers are losing money without us. Facts and figures. What happens with actresses? There are many gender studies in all techniques, but not about actresses. What happens with us? There are no numbers about actresses. In AMMA, I won't tell you the figures because you would like to weep. And Deborah Williams said, numbers, statistics, facts and figures, that's what we need to show. That's the way they will understand. Quotas. We, as actresses, we ask for quotas for the artistic team. A quota for women of more than 40. Protagonist women, 2 points, or with a supporting role, 2 points, and more quotas for actresses. Quotas are very good for the technical teams. For the artistic team, it should be also open for quotas. But then, no to unified prices, no to unified awards, because we are harmed as actresses. It's very difficult to get there. When there's equity, when there's fairness, we will unify, but we don't have the same opportunities to be in protagonist or leading roles. We don't want unified awards. In 2022, all actresses from 26 to 69 years of age, not a single actress could access to protagonist casting, to a leading role casting. Without equity and fairness, we cannot unify awards between men and women, actors and actresses. Yes, I'd like to say, if salaries are not unified, awards shouldn't be unified, because there is a huge difference of salaries between men and women. Okay, many conclusions. Now we have time for questions. I'd like to ask you first, Oliva. Where is the possibility of change? Would you like to ask them questions, as you're a member of AMA? Thank you very much for your presentations. Thank you for the Observatory for Equality. Thank you to the festival. Thank you for facilitating this space. We in associations, we are now working for many years. 4 years already. We work together in this interterritorial working group with many members. More than 2,000 women are represented. I'm talking about the audiovisual sector. When you said that things are changing, that there's a transformation, that we start to see green leaves, I think this is it's a particle accelerator. What we do in our associations has a lot to say. It has sense, means a lot. Conchi, Monse, our colleagues from the Observatory, are receptive. They want to accompany us in this work, and thank you for the festival, because we've been working for 2 years now. It's important to recognize this great will, this openness of the festival, because they want to sit with us. Every 2 months we have meetings with the festival. It's important to explain that. We've seen in depth how the festival works, how it operates, and they answered all our questions, our concerns. There's a lot to do, I know, but this is the beginning of the new way, the new voyage. We in associations, we are very happy. We think this space is fundamental in the festival. This festival is the major festival in Spain. It's a prescriptor for other festivals. This opens up new doors for us. We in Andalusia, we have already tackled this topic in Malaga, in Sevilla Festival. We continue to work around this avenue, because for associations and for us, this is a priority subject, and it's urgent, because the absence of women and the absence of women's representations on the screen, it's something that is really worrying. It's concerning, because there's an imbalance. All imbalances are weaknesses and sicknesses. It has a social cost, because women are being subject to violence, to hate, because we're not duly represented as we are on the screen. And I have a question. In Generama Festival in Andalusia, which is organized by our association, we spoke with a very old actress, Claudia Gravi. She's 80. She spoke with other actresses. She said, in this country, there is a kind of short-sightedness. There's short-sightedness in this country. I'd like to know the financial figures of the Golden Ladies. This series was made with very old actresses. So there is a business study, a financial study, every time a movie is going to be made and distributed. We are a lot of moviegoers. We are very old, and we go to the movies very often. Let's do the Golden Girls in Spain. It's going to be very successful, but it never happens. Why not? Thank you. I totally agree with you. The market studies are done according to old rules, as if all the audiences were young males going to the movies. It's not true. The business studies, market studies have to be changed according to the audiences, and it's a mistake. I don't know if you want to ask a question. The members of EMEN, THEMA, and the other associations. In representation of EMEN, the Basque Association for Women in the Audiovisual World and Performing Arts. Thank you very much. It's necessary to put these topics on the table. I have a question and an anecdote about ageism. I have actresses and producers who are colleagues of mine. An actress, she's 27, and she's been rejected because she wanted to have a role for age, because they chose women of 20 and so there is ageism among the young actresses. They want younger actresses, even for actresses of 30. This is happening once again. And she said, I'm in the middle, I'm 30. I'm not young, I'm not old. I should be in this age interval, but I have great difficulties in getting these roles. So you see people working in the real world. I see how they work. I discover what they have to face up to in these professions. We need to analyze why. This is happening all the time. We, in MN, we are seeing this positive impact. We created a program called Aukera. It means opportunity in Basque. It's about mentorship. We select projects for women between 18 and 30 years of age, so that we want them to be professionals. I was a student in a university for audiovisual studies, and most of us were women, but then in the profession, women had disappeared. The vast majority of the professionals were men. So it's the third edition. We have already made short films, we have productions, we have benchmarks. So this is the beginning of change. And I hope that future generations will see more and more women professionals in the world of cinema. My name is Sara Manzanés. I'm the delegate for FIMA Festivals. We are the Association for Women Filmmakers. We have all the filmmakers with us in Spain, a big association. We have here many members. Many associations are present here today. Going back to what you said about reports and facts and figures, I invite you to consult many reports that come from these associations. In the case of FIMA, we have an annual report. It's the general panorama of feature films in Spain, the presence of women in technical teams, direction, etc. And we have many challenges in front of us. I took note of what you said. It's about fighting for quotas, the importance of quotas. We need to defend it. Our main challenges today are to find for the represented the real diversity, racialized women, migrant women, pluralism, diversity should be there in Spain, but also in other countries in Latin America and Europe. This diversity should be represented on the screen, and maybe in this room this diversity is not present. This is a challenge for us, and this is an obligation. In our association, this is considered an obligation, and I suppose my colleagues have the same ideas. And last but not least, I know that we have to give the voice to real and diverse women. This is an important goal. I'd like to thank the Observatory, the festival, the team, Amaya, Alejo, the coordinators. Thank you. And at 11 tomorrow at San Telmo, we will have a round table. We'll deal about the protocols of gender, power, and sexual abuse. And this is a step forward. Thank you.
Bueno, pues si os parece, damos paso a alguna pregunta. Si hay...
Any questions in the room?
O en la fila cero.
Hola, buenas.
My name is Aina, I'm the secretary. I'm an actress, secretary of the Equality Commission in Actress Union. Thank you very much for all that you said, because I'm totally represented by your voices and your presence here today. Going back to numbers and facts and figures, how are these numbers and facts and figures elaborated? For example, in our association, we made a survey in Valencia. How many actors and actresses did work, how many lead roles, how many supporting roles. Apparently, there's equality. 48% of women are lead roles, 42% of men. It seems to be quite balanced, but a person in the association said you didn't read the numbers. Who gives this work? We start to analyze it in detail. Actresses who were working, in fact, because we were the producers of our own movies. We created our roles, we created our shows, we gave jobs to women, and that's why there was quite a balance in the percentages. You pay for yourself and you pay for other women, but who gives you the job? Just other women. So who gives the money? Who gives the job? So we need to have our male colleagues to fight with us. This is the same war. So there's an apparent equality, but it's unreal. It's important. Let's tell our stories, but we cannot do it alone. We shouldn't pay for all that we do. We have smaller productions because we have less money. For us, it's just theater because it's cheaper than film. So it's interesting to say who decides and who gives the jobs. So we didn't realize there was quite a bias in the figures. Thank you. I'm Giovanna Ribes from Union Cinema in Valencia. We're talking about ageism. We're talking about you, actresses, about we, women, about us, and I'm concerned about a specific problem. Directors, women directors. We have a program like EMEN, it's the Atenea program. We focused on young people because they are the future. But we, as references, we are being forgotten, completely forgotten. We don't find any program, we older women, we can't find any program that accepts us to develop projects because we are not in the drawers anymore. We're out of the landscape. We need to reflect about this. Meryl Streep and a group of women in the US, they fight for older women, roles for older women. That's all. We want to be visible again. Yes, it's for women of more than 50. In Dama, we have a project, specifically for women of more than 50. Thank you. I'm talking about the international level. You have a project, you need to develop it, and you are not taken into consideration. You understand, you don't have laboratories, you need a lot of people around you, a lot of money, and you can't get your place because you're old. I'd like to say something. A filmmaker wrote to me and she asked me to say that we need to talk about maternity, motherhood. It's very difficult to be mothers. To work in the audiovisual sector being a mother or wanting to be mothers, because we don't have stable work. But when they become chiefs of department or when they need to work in the audiovisual world, they have difficulties being a mother. I would like to say this. That's all I wanted to say. Very fast, very short, please. Very simple. We made a movie. The first assistant director, Betche. She was a young mother. The accountant was a young mother, and she was breastfeeding. You shouldn't explain anything about the team. This is it. We don't need to give any explanation. We don't need to get into the details. Don't say being a mother, not being a mother. It's the team as it is, and people are as they are with their ages and everything. Thank you very much for all your ideas. I have taken down notes, the important things that you mentioned, figures, facts and figures, to be representative analysis, to see who is the focus not only of the responsibilities and solutions, but the fact that industry is changing in several directions, and sorority. These are the key words. I'd like to remind you that there is an event tomorrow morning at 11 in San Telmo Museum. You will speak about good practice, harassment, sexual abuse, gender abuse or power abuse, and the fact that we need to change a lot of things in our industry. What's positive is that now, little by little, we are going forward, and there is a lot of support between women's associations, actresses, filmmakers, and the world of sociology. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias y eskerrik asko.
Thank you very much. Eskerrik asko in Basque.